everyone. This is Melanie from Light Beams Treasures, and we are on our final 3 chapters of Grossology and You. This is the book that talks about really gross things in your body. And remember, gross is in the eye of the beholder. I've been reading each chapter every single day, and I'm coming to the end of this book. It's a little upsetting, but I am selling this book for $1 if anybody's interested. It's great for kids, has really informative information about your body, as well as really fun pictures to look at. So, the final chapters, we are going to be talking about tongues. Parrot tongues are fat and round. Cat tongues are scratchy. Long and drippy describes dog tongues. Cow tongues are huge. Frog tongues are fast, very fast. And human tongues are flat and wiggly. You probably haven't thought about how disgusting your tongue is. If you were to walk down the street and find a tongue on the sidewalk, would you pick it up and say, "What is this pink, icky lump?" Flat and round on one end, a thing grows into a large blob. Ew, it has little bumps all over it. I wouldn't want to touch that. Yet your tongue is constantly part of your life, touching your lips, your mouth, waggling about, forming sounds, lifting and flopping to help you eat. It's almost as if it has a life of its own. It's like a giant slug living in your mouth. Basically, the tongue is a large muscle with a layer of mucus over the top. The tongue is the most agile organ in the whole body. Funny, if a person is a gymnast or a dancer, people will say he's agile. But your teacher never comments on how agile your tongue is when you talk during class. Say tongue. Say it again and notice your tongue's movement. Tongue is a great word for a flexible muscle, since it takes all kinds of maneuvers just to say it on its own name. Okay, so your tongue is really a large mucus layer muscle with a whole bunch of nerves attached to it. The nerves will help you to contort your tongue so you can talk. This will allow you to notice how cold, hot, smooth, rough, wet, dry, and pain. Some people choose to have their tongues pierced. The piercer artist asks the person to stick out their tongue. Some people's tongues know what pain is about to come, so they suck the tongue right back in. The piercer has to hold out these unruly tongue with a clamp. Don't worry, it'll just hurt for a moment. Yeah, right. Your tongue is attached to the bottom of your mouth by a membrane called the lingual frenulum that runs down the center. This membrane is important because it stops you from swallowing your own tongue. Swallowing is one of the things that the tongue does the best. Without your tongue, you couldn't swallow at all. Your tongue rolls your food into a bolus. At swallow time, your tongue will lift up, shove the bolus into the back of your mouth, and sends food and liquid down your food tube. In some people, the lingual frenulum is too short, so the tongue movements are limited. It makes it hard for the person to talk, and they are said to be tongue-tied. Doctors fix tongue-tied people by cutting the membrane. Ouch. Stick your tongue out and check out the surface. Better yet, ask your brother or sister to stick out his or her tongue and study their surface. The top of the tongue is loaded with little bumps. Most people call these bumps your taste buds. However, they are actually called papillae. Papillae comes from the Latin word for pimple. Surrounding each papillae is a moat like those around a castle. Along the edges of each moat are actually the taste buds. Each papillae contains anywhere from 1 to 200 taste buds. The food you eat is dissolved in your spit. The spittle dribbles from the papillae into the moat, hits your taste buds, and voila, you taste pizza. Actually, your tongue only recognizes 4 different tastes: bitter, sweet, salty, and sour. Different parts of the tongues are more sensitive to certain areas. The tip of your tongue likes sweet and salty. The sides of your tongue like sour, and the very back is bitterness. The center of your tongue doesn't do much tasting. So to taste something like pizza, your brain and tongue have to work together to combine the different flavors. Have you ever noticed that food just doesn't taste the same when your nose is stuffed up? Your nose and mouth together help you taste. Inside your head, your nose, mouth, and throat are interconnected by a bunch of passages. These tiny molecules from baking peanut butter cookies float through the air. You breathe them in. The cookie molecules dissolve in the saliva, and you can actually taste the cookies without putting them in your mouth. Yummy air cookies. So you can actually taste smells. That's good for nice smells. But what about those yucky smells? Yes, well, you actually have tasted those icky smells too. To be honest, you have to taste that little taste like doggy dookie smell passed by your taste buds. How lovely. Maybe you have eaten something nasty and exclaimed, "Does this taste like poop?" Then your cousin responds, "Well, how do you know? Have you ever eaten poop?" You could just explain the whole smell and taste thing and then say, "You've eaten poop too." That may keep your bratty cousin quiet, for a little while anyway. Next chapter we're going to talk about is varicose veins. Very close veins mostly appear in older people. Isn't it varicose veins? Yes, but very close veins is an accurate description. Okay, think very close, but say varicose. Varicose comes from the Latin word meaning varicus, which means a dilated vein. Funny how so many V words are used for blood, such as vein, vessel, vascular, valve, varicose. Varicose veins form a weak vascular vessel of valves. Quickly try to say that 3 times. How very vexing. You may nicely ask your great Aunt Sally or your great Uncle George if they have varicose veins. Should they show you, in your mind you're silently saying, "Geez, that is so disgusting. I hope I don't ever get those." But aloud you say, "Thank you, that's very interesting." Most of the time, people don't show off their varicose veins, so you might have to settle with sneaking a peek when you encounter an elder at the beach. Veins are an important part of your circulatory system. Basically, the system is a pump and bunch of tubes. The pump is your heart, the tubes are your arteries, capillaries, and veins. The arteries deliver rich blood out of the heart to the body. The heart shoves the blood to help it on its way. You can feel the push in the arteries when you take your pulse. The arteries get smaller and smaller until only one blood cell can pass through at a time. The artery is now a capillary. Once the blood has passed around all its oxygen and nutrients, it must go back to the lungs for refueling. The veins are the route back to the heart. By now, all of the pressure from the pump is gone. The blood moves slower. For the veins above the heart, gravity helps pull down the body. For veins below the heart, little one-way valves keep the blood from running back to collecting your ankles. Vein walls are very thin and weak. After years of moving the body cargo, they become stretchy and flabby. Now the alarmed vein has to carry even more blood. A one-way valve in part of the vessel may stop closing all the way. The blood flows backwards and pulls inside an area of the vein, making a bulge underneath the skin. To make the situation even worse, fluids around the area make it swell. Varicose veins are a result, and they can be very uncomfortable as well as ugly. 1 in 5 adults gets varicose veins. If your grandparents have them, you're more likely to get them. People who are overweight or stand a lot have more likely to develop vein problems too. Kids don't get varicose veins because their veins are not yet worn out. My poor, tired veins. Some people swear by horse chestnut pills. It's a miracle cure for varicose veins. It may be around because the actual treatments for getting rid of them are pretty gruesome. In one type of surgery, cuts are made along the vein and surgical hooks snag and fish out the vein. Vein stripping is as creepy as it sounds. Incisions are made at the groin and the lower leg. The lower leg vein is tied off and pulled out of the leg. Ew. Sclerotherapy injects medications into the veins and seals them shut to stop the blood flow. Over time, the vein shrinks and breaks down. Many folks just choose to support stockings that bind up the legs. Support stockings are not a cure, but they do take the vein away. And the final chapter is warts. Okay, admit it. You have one. You have a wart. Even the word wart sounds disgusting. Warts are ugly, little cauliflower like growths that sprout on the surface of skin. They're ugly, of course, unless you are a male warthog. Male warthogs are tusk hogs native to parts of Africa. The male warthog is endowed with warts on the cheek and between the eyes and tusk. Who knows? Maybe the female warthog is attached to the male with the largest and most warts. Who knows? Although facial warts are common on male warthogs, in humans, warts actually take root in the hands, fingers, elbows, and feet, but they can show up almost anywhere. Storybook witches and goblins have warts on their nose. This is not a common place for warts to grow. Like ice cream, there's a wide variety of warts to choose from. Warts are not too cute, but usually they're not painful either. One type of wart, called a plantar wart, forms on the sole of the foot. This wart is painful because standing and walking causes the wart to grow inward instead of outward. You step, ouch. Innocent toads may have taken the blame for causing warts. Hey, if you pick up a toad, you'll get warts. Maybe toads started this rumor so people would leave them alone. Warts are actually caused by a virus. A virus is a little germ that gets on your skin. If you touch somewhere, it hangs out. The wart virus climbs onto your skin, gets comfortable, multiplies, and forms little bumpy growths. Unlike toads, you can't see viruses, so it's hard to look out for them. But you can encounter wart viruses by touching warty areas or by walking barefoot on warty floors, such as locker rooms or shower stalls. So don't go stroking your friend's warts and wear foot coverings in high wart areas. Give it enough time, most warts will go away by themselves. Sometimes the wart will hang out for several weeks, but there are a few stubborn ones that may take several years. You could try purchasing wart cream from the drugstore, but most of them have limited results in getting rid of warts. Or you could try covering the wart for a week with several layers of adhesive tape. Remove the tape on the seventh day for 12 hours and cover it again for a week. If this doesn't work, doctors can remove swollen, painful warts. Foot doctors or podiatrists have the great honor of removing many plantar warts. Warts are often removed by freezing them with liquid nitrogen, electrocuting them with low voltage, or burning them with acid. And that's, my friend, is Grossology. That is the last of the book. It says, hey, there's more Grossology books. If you want, there's Animal Grossology, and then there's Grossology Begins at Home. So this particular book was the science of really gross things about your body. And of course, gross is in the eye of the beholder. So if you like this, be sure to give a thumbs up, throw a comment below. I am officially done with Grossology. So this book, like I said, is on sale for $1 if anybody is interested. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring to you more great moments of literature and read more stories to you. Stay tuned for the next book. This is Melanie with Lightbeam's Treasures. Thank you.